Hello and welcome back to Chatting with Chaz. I'm so glad you've joined us again. I'm excited about today's episode. You know, you've heard so much about my story. We're going to have a little story time continued. I have shared the beginning of my story from my childhood in episode 1 to kind of some traumatic things that happened episode 2 to kind of becoming in episode 3. And you've heard about a lot of the changes in my life. And I think change can be a great thing, or you can look at it in a way that's like, oh my gosh, I hate change. There are people that are like, I do not like change. I like the same. Then there are people that embrace change. So today I hope to inspire you in embracing change in your life. And whether it's a relationship, a marriage, a different family dynamic, a business partner, a change in direction in life, maybe midlife, a new job, a health diagnosis. You know, change comes in a lot of different forms. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And I want to talk about a lot of change that's happened in my life. You know, I know a lot of you have watched my story on Instagram, Linen and Flax Co., and also at Chatting with Chaz. I've been very open and I think pretty vulnerable as well. And today I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be vulnerable in the way that I've come through difficulties and embracing change instead of fighting it, and changes that I had really little control over. I want to tell you about what it looked like, my new beginning. You know, you've heard about the struggles, you've heard about the bad marriage. It's not going to be a divorcee conversation. It's going to be a new beginnings for myself, for my children, for my business, for every aspect of my life. And I hope through my vulnerability that you will see yourself and the change that you might be going through. And maybe you will start healing, maybe you will start growing, maybe you'll be inspired to embrace it instead of fight it. That's my goal today. So let's dive in. I want to talk to you about, you know, different phases in life and different chapters in life. We all have chapters. And like I've said, I've shared a lot of my chapters in our previous episodes. Today's chapter of the new beginning is, what did it look like after the change of our family? You know, we walked through this process together. You watched me in tears. You watched me in change. You watched me and oh my goodness, now what? And this is what the now what looks like. We were going through a very hostile and difficult life change. And it wasn't a change that really was even expected for myself and for my children and probably even for my ex. It was not a surprise that it wasn't working, but it was definitely like, okay, this is going to happen and everything will be different. And what does that look like? Well, without proper planning and not ever planning to be divorced, you don't have a path. You just have to kind of go, and you just kind of have to walk, and you just have to kind of figure it out. And you figure it out step by step. And what happened with me is, I think the biggest change for our family is not only was it a relationship change, it was really a lifestyle change. And it was starting from scratch. I've never really shared what it looked like the day we moved and left our family home. It was a home that we built. It was a home that every finish, every material was selected by me, every color, every pillow, every sofa, every dish. You know, it had my handprint on it. It had my love and my passion, and it had my kids' memories. And that alone, as I've talked to you in DMs, if I've gotten emails from you, is a huge change when you've been in that position, whether you had to leave your home because of finances or because of a divorce or because of, you know, a move, a job sent you, and you struggle with the change and the shift for your family. You know, as women, I think we want to protect our kids from everything that could hurt them, you know, or cause them stress. And that was the position I was in. We did need to leave our family home, and because of circumstances, the children did leave with me, and it happened quickly. There were things that I wanted to do to make it easier and less impactful to them, but again, you can't control everything. So we were left with, we have to leave the family home. Christian was at school, and literally it happened in a day. He was at school, Jacqueline was at Ole Miss, and Riley was with me the day that we left our family home. I called a girlfriend and her husband to help me. We were leaving with basically our clothing. We left every possession there. Think about all the things you save over life, your kids' trophies and awards and pictures, and, even the dishes you put out for Thanksgiving and the special touches that you bring out every Christmas and every year, all the bins that you've saved and acquired, all those things in your garage. We literally had to leave with just our clothing. At one point, we were just putting things in garbage bags, and we left our family home with garbage bags and our clothing on our back. And they were on the curb for a while because we couldn't fit them in all the trucks that we had and cars. And it was a lot, but we were in the moment. We were in the moment of, this is what we have to do. And this is our next stop. My kids didn't really know what the next stop was because, like I said, I had to do it quickly. And so I remember laying in bed one night, realizing what we had to do, and that I had to find a place. And I had dreamt of building something or buying something, but because of the position I was in, I didn't have time to do that. And you can't really buy anything when you're going through a divorce as well. So I was scrambling. Well, it's really hard to find a rental with 4 bedrooms. That was something I learned. And I was just scrambling, and I couldn't find anything. It was 2-bedroom apartments, 3 bedrooms. We needed something fast. I needed something within the week. And then I came across this townhouse at like 2:00 in the morning, and it had 4 bedrooms. I didn't even see it. And I'm like, I emailed and I said, I'll take it. And my children didn't even know what a townhouse was. So you have to do things, quickly and things that maybe are completely different. And we embraced it. I embraced it as, this is a different life. This is a new beginning. This is exciting. We literally had to leave all of our furniture, like I said. So I was like, we're going to have a fresh space. We'll have a new sofa. We'll have new memories. And I really tried to embrace it as like an exciting, fun thing. A lot of you followed me during my move-in and during that journey, and really trying to make it a home. Now, it wasn't their childhood home, but now I'm in the shift of creating home for my family, a place that they felt safe, a place they felt, as a refuge during, coming through a lot of trauma. So we get into the townhouse. Again, my kids didn't really know what it was. From everything from Rebel, like Rebel doesn't have a yard now. He has to be on a leash every time he walks out the door. Little things like that you're just not even used to. I remember the day we moved in, the neighbor came over to us, and Rebel was outside, and we had movers coming in and out. Literally, the house was finished being built, and they closed on this townhouse at noon on a Wednesday, and we moved in at 1:00 that day. That's how tight it was. That's how close it was. It was totally God providing for us. And we moved in. I remember this neighbor coming and saying, your dog needs to be on a leash. I'm like, listen, we just moved in here today. We're coming from a house that had a yard and a place for Rebel. Just give us a minute. We will figure it out. I don't even know where the leash is right now. So anyway, we moved in and we made it home. Was it different? Yes. Is it a loss for our kids in some ways? Yes. Was it not only the loss of a family being together, but it was also a loss of, that's where their bedroom was. That's where their little fort was. That's where my garden was. Those were our spaces that we built together. And so it was new. So that was a big change. Things I didn't think of were like, okay, because of our situation, I was the primary parent, caregiver, person, from never really feeling like I had to do everything alone. I now was feeling I had to do everything alone. One thing that happens when there's a shift, maybe in a business or a relationship, you might have joint pieces, healthcare, and, even just where's the birth certificate? Where's the passports? We were in a position that I couldn't take any of those things. So, we had to get new healthcare for me and the kids. I had to figure that out. The school email, let's just talk about the school email. We used to divide and conquer. It's like all things school are going to me. So I'm managing everything going on with Ole Miss, everything going on with Christian school. I'm also like, okay, let's get the new healthcare in place. I we had a joint will. I need a will. So you might have lost a husband. Maybe it's not a terrible divorce. Maybe it's, your husband died, your wife died. And so now you're figuring out, I need a will that is for me and for my kids. I needed to get an estate planner because I didn't have that. Everything I thought was tied up in our marriage. Things like I was asked about our retirement in the divorce. I didn't have that. I'm solo. That's just gone. There's no retirement for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm starting completely over. I remember that was a question, whether you're happily married now or going through a divorce, or like I said, maybe you lost your spouse. That was a conversation that we couldn't really have. And I'd ask it a lot, like, what's our retirement? Am I being considered in the retirement? Do I need to be thinking about retirement? And I would never really get that answer. And then I realized I'm starting from scratch with retirement. 401k, starting from scratch. Literally every little thing. And as a woman, yes, you're thinking about, I'm a single mom now, but then you're thinking, I am fully responsible for not only myself, but 3 other human beings. And I need to really figure this out. So there's a false sense sometimes in a relationship, maybe, like I said, whatever your change is, that you've got someone to rely on if anything goes wrong. And I kind of felt that, like, if anything goes wrong, at least I've got a partner that's going to come in and say, okay, we got this together. And then there's this feeling when you go through a change like this, like you are truly on your own and you've got to figure this out. When that tuition's due, it is due. When that rent's due, it's due. And, health insurance, it's the important things in life. When someone needs new tires, you're on your own. And so that was a lot for me. I think that was the biggest transition I had to make, is that I needed to handle and make sure that not only our home was intact, but everything that comes with that. Again, insurance, making sure if something happens to me that my kids will be taken care of with my estate. Those are things you should be thinking about, whether you, like I said, are in a good marriage, bad marriage, a health condition. You need to consider those things. So now we've made this transition from, okay, where's the dog go? Let's make sure, everything's in place. But I was learning, and I tell you, as you walk into a transition or a change in your life, every day you're going to have to make hard decisions. And every day there's going to be a call that's like, hey, I need this, I need that. And you might have to prioritize. And I had a good friend tell me, just, Chaz, chunk it down. I'm like, I just feel like there's so many balls in the air. There's so many things coming at me. Plus I'm running a business, a very fast moving, high paced business that's also taking care of all these things. So I need to take care of that. I had like very little bandwidth, I remember feeling. But my good friend was saying, just chunk it down. Just one thing, one day at a time. Taxes. Filing taxes and making sure you're doing that right. And just all these things that maybe you put on your partner or on someone else, and just kind of owning it yourself. I really grew up. I feel like I've been adulting significantly and hard. But it's been very healthy for me to really own and take responsibility for myself and our kids and be like, okay, we got this. We can do this. Whether it's scheduling a flight or a family trip or a vacation, or let's talk about the house in Rosemary. It's all these balls in the air. And sometimes I'm just like, wow, how do I do it all? But I do it because I chunk it down, and I do it driven through love for my family. I do it because I have an amazing team at my office that is supportive, and I'm supporting them. And that's what keeps me going. But you have to have something that keeps you going, right? You have to kind of say, okay, how do I do this? I really relied on my faith. I think in transition, whatever the transition might be, it's important to know that you're not doing it alone. And I would rely on those nights that I would sit at my kitchen island and think, okay, there's a lot coming at me, and there's a lot that I need to get done. There's a lot that I have to do. Oh, and Jacqueline needs a place this semester, a new house, and we have to figure that out. And that's 5 hours away. And, there's just a lot. And I remember just saying, God, I just need you to be not only my provider, but I need you to be my partner. And I think those prayers in the middle of the night, whether it was laying in my bed alone thinking, okay, God, I just need a partner, and you need to be my partner. Give me wisdom to make good decisions for my family. Give me wisdom to make decisions for my estate planning, for my will, for all the things. Like I said, even a passport. You're taking your kid out of the country and I don't have access to the passports. Okay. How do I get that? And adulting. And he has shown up. He has shown up every time I've called on him. There was an occasion even this week, I was in the shower and I literally was like, there's nothing I could do in this position. There's no power that I have that I can control any of this. God, I need your help. And I would ask for your help. And I'm telling you, he shows up time and time again. I feel like that is one of my biggest lessons, is relying on my faith and watching God show up on my behalf and my family's behalf. The second thing that I've learned is relying on friends. I think if you're like me, we don't like to ask for help, right? We don't want to ask a girlfriend for help. But it's good to have girlfriends that see that you need help. And there were times I had a girlfriend come over and literally showed up and she's like, okay, listen, we need to get your closet organized. And I'm like, that is the last thing on my mind right now. I just need to make sure that this is handled, that's handled. I'm handling things at work. Dinner's on the table at 6. Breakfast is out. Lunch is packed for the kids. Like, I'm not worried about my closet. But she said, I need to take care of you because you're taking care of everyone else. And that was such a gift to have someone see that there was a need, that I was putting myself kind of on the back burner because there were so many burners in front of me. And so rely on your friends. Say yes when someone says, can I do you a favor? Can I step in for you for a minute? Can I go do this for Christian? Rely on your people, and your people will show up. And I will tell you, through life's changes, you will see who your people are. I had a girlfriend that came over, funny story, and she cleaned out my underwear drawer. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, first of all, we're getting you new underwear. This is a new you. This is a new change in life. And I was thankful for that. So have a girlfriend that'll go through your underwear drawer with you. I think we shared that on Instagram and you saw that. Friends were huge. Number 3, family. My kids. I was letting them know what we were up against. Yes. You've never seen a townhouse. You're going to see a townhouse. And you know what? It is a gift. It is a beautiful place, and it is a safe place for us. And I know it looks different than your family home, and I know that everything feels different and you're not connected to this in any way, but we're going to make the connection here. And we're going to have the family movies in the family room. We're going to have the family dinners. And yes, although it looks different, our 4 is still more. It's still healthy. It's still good. There's peace. There's a space that you can lay your head, and there is absolute security. I think security for me and my kids has been huge. And I think in women, we want to feel secure. And I think for me, creating a space in my home for my kids gave me a sense of security that, okay, we have a space in this world that is safe. They have a space in this world that is safe and that we are secure. Yes, it's 4, but we have really stepped up. I have stepped up. I've watched my oldest son, 22 years old. He has stepped up. He has stepped up, and he felt like maybe he was a burden. So he was never a burden, but he then started his own company. And I watched him really step up and leave a boy and become a man. And I think you can see some of the best things happening in your family when you sit back and you let go of control and you watch them lean into change. I've watched Riley create a business. I've watched him excel in his business. I watched him begin to cook because I'm not there a lot of nights, making dinner. Maybe I'm at work late. There's something going on. I'm at Christian's lacrosse game, and Riley, he's like, I got it. I'm going to take care. I got Rebel. I'm taking that off your plate, and I've got dinner. And he's become a partner. I've watched Jacqueline step up. I've watched Jacqueline take initiative in her school and say, I'm going to take this off your plate and I'm going to get organized, and I will let you know when I need this and when I need that, and I will give you time instead of, last minute stress, oh my gosh, tuition's due today. So I've watched her make sure that her classes are scheduled, that there's time, and finding her new place, that it was in an affordable and a safe place, because that would be a burden off me knowing that she's safe. I've really watched my kids take off. I watched Christian embrace, being honest, not loving that he's had to leave his family home, but embrace his new home and say, thank you for this. Thank you for a space that's safe. And, we've all gone through it, but we could all look back and say we've grown through it. And I think if you are the leader in your home and you're the leader in your change, whatever that change might look like, you have to be a confident change embracer. You have to go into it with a good attitude, be like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be an adventure. This is going to be different. And this might not be forever, but this is for now, and it's going to be awesome. And we're going to make the best of it. And that was the attitude we went into. So over that year, we grew and we learned, and we had a lot of change in every single way. The day, from my car changed, the house changed, our address, our city. Even just leaving our Roswell, like going into another city, everything changed within a week. And that's a lot. And it's a lot for kids. So you have to kind of have understanding for what they're going through, and understanding for being patient to let them feel it and let them experience it and let them kind of deal with it as they deal with it. And you have to be open to listen to them and understand. And I think that's been a huge thing as a mom. It's not just me going through it, but it's everyone. It's not typical. We had a different experience to leave your home with trash bags and nothing familiar, not like a familiar chair or, something that was in their bedroom or something off their wall. And so it was kind of heartbreaking. Sorry. So, did not expect that, but you have to, you just have to create something different and new memories. And, home isn't about the picture that was hanging on that wall. Home isn't about the sofa that we sat in. Home is about the people. And the people did change, but it's not about things. And that's the message we talk a lot about. Yes, I sell beautiful things and we have beautiful furniture, and you watched me style and change that house over and over again. That's where my business started. And my kids watched that, and they would leave school and they'd come home, and there was cookies in that oven, and there was a new sofa in the family room, and a candle lit. And that's what they remember. And it's hard when you have to change that, especially as children. And so we did. And it's been good. Has it been hard? Yes. Would I sit here and lie to you, say it was the best thing ever? It was hard, but I did lean into it. They have seen me cry. It's okay that they see you cry. They have cried. They have said this is hard. They still deal with it to this day, and it's been 2+ years. But I can also tell you beautiful things came from that. Beautiful things always come from ashes. The Bible promises that. He makes beauty from ashes. And I've seen that in my life time and time again. My kids have too. And I feel like we try to protect them from things that hurt. We try to protect them from things that are sad. And I used to be like Mickey Mouse. Like anytime someone was sad, I'm like, okay, yay, let's go do a vacation. Let's go do an adventure. But now I kind of sit in it. And I talk about it. And there was something that happened this weekend even. And I remember last night just sitting in my kid's room, and we talked about it and we sat in it. And I want to know how he felt about it. Thank you. I'm going to grab a tissue. And, I could easily just be like, oh, what Mickey Mouse would do, let's just move forward and let's go buy something. But they don't grow in that. They don't learn in that. I don't as a mother. They don't as a child. And so if you sit in it and you talk about it and you say, well, how did that make you feel? How does that make you feel? And how can we maybe give you this in a different way? And you just kind of face it. I think that's the beauty that comes from the ashes. And, even at the end of our conversation, it was such a good conversation. It was appreciated that I understood And it was appreciated that he understood and that there was an understanding together, that we were in this together. And it was really a beautiful moment. Sometimes these messy moments in life, you want to push it away. You want to get something shiny and not pay attention to the mess. But I'm telling you, step into it, feel it. I was in tears a couple times yesterday over something, but I was glad to explain why and to have a conversation, and an open, honest conversation. I think our kids appreciate when we're honest, even if they see us hurt. I think the kids appreciate when they can feel vulnerable with you and not feel like they have to be tough and strong for you. One thing I always try to remind my kids, and they're adults, right? They're 22, 21, 18, is they don't have to be the adult, that I am the parent in the room, and they can feel they don't have to be strong. And I think if you let them off the hook, they can be vulnerable with you. And that's what opens and creates conversations that are meaningful and conversations that you can grow from. And I think if you could be honest with yourself, and I try to do that and be less Mickey Mouse and more Chaz, that's been a huge change for me. Again, that was what I did. Patterns of the past was to smile and look pretty. And I feel like I kind of shifted that same thing. You heard me talk about that in previous episodes with my children. But sometimes they do need to see you feel it. And it's okay that they see mom struggling, because what they need to see after that is mom having courage to walk through it. And mom is vulnerable. Oh, and that is something that my mom, I saw her struggle there. I saw her stressed there. I saw her sad there. But then I see that she picked up the pieces. I see that she grew in it. And that gives them confidence. So how you handle your change, how you embrace it, how you lean into it, how you feel it can really be a change maker for those around you, whether it's your kids, whether it's your partner, whatever it is. Those things can help people around you, and you can inspire people around you. I even think about the change we've went through with linen and flax. I mean, when I came out of that, everything was different. And you heard a lot of times I would talk about linen and flax 2.0. I wanted everything to be different because it was different. And I thought, instead of pretending like it's all the same, I want it to look different. And so I did even choose to be different with linen and flax. So not only was my personal and home life completely different, but linen and flax was different too. My team changed. My team changed because we were growing. And my team changed because I was pulling back a bit to really focus on what was happening in our family life. And I trusted that they were able to pull us forward, and they did beautifully. They did that because they had a leader. They had a leader that, even though everything was changing up and down, they knew the direction. They knew where we were going. So you have to be strong for not only your people in your place of home, but your people in your place of business. And it was a lot. And I also, even though we were changing 2.0 at Linen and Flax, I had people that were with me for a long time, and they knew the direction. They knew the course, and then they stepped up as leaders, just as my children did. In-house at our business, they stepped up. My operations manager, all the managers in different departments, our stores, everything was changing. We even relocated our stores. I mean, we changed everything. So if there's one thing I can tell you a lot about, it's change. And was it hard when we relocated our stores? Yes. But why did we do that? Because it was good. It was healthy. It was the right thing to do at the right time. Now, the timing was a little forced because in Roswell, Georgia, on Canton Street, that's magical street, if something comes available, you have to jump on it. So there was a lot of change going on. It's like, oh, we don't want to add one more piece of change, but we kind of have to. And it was hard. It was hard on our team. It was hard on me. But when we did it, we knew it was the right thing. So you might be thinking today, this is really hard. I don't know if the season's right because it seems really difficult. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's right. And I would say that's the theme of my life. Most of the great things in my life have been difficult. I would say not most, I would say all. All of the things that have made me a better human, a better mother, a better person has been hard. And that's what I want to leave you with today. I want you to embrace the hard things. We can do hard things. I can tell you 100% that you can, because I could. And I was the person that kind of doubted myself a lot in life, as you heard me share in earlier episodes. And I didn't have the most confidence. But you know what brings you confidence? Every time you do something hard and you realize, when you say, I can't do that, and then you can, and then you did, that's what makes you take on the next step. And, I can't start a business. I'm 40 years old. oh, I did that. Oh, I can do that. Oh, well, I am not going to get into this because I can't. Oh, I can because I've done. And you start thinking about where God has brought you, what he has brought you through. You continue to remember beauty from ashes. You trust because your faith is strong. You trust because you're surrounded by people that root for you. You trust because you have a family that you've invested in and poured in, and they've got you. You trust because you have a team that you're surrounded by every day when you walk in the doors that's got your vision. They're vision carriers, and they've got your back and you've got their back. All these things were assembled around me by the grace of God and by the efforts of a person that was building and investing in other people, and it came back. And I assure you, what you put out will come back in your hard times. What you put out will come back when you need it, when your girlfriend needs to come over and clean your closet because you don't know where your underwear are. So if you're going through that, reach out to your friends. If your friend's going through that, be that girl. Be that friend that goes and cleans out your underwear drawer. I mean, at one point she lifted up a pair of underwear, cute story. I had a surgical procedure. I'm going to talk to you about that one day. That was a change. I was so afraid of going to the doctor. That's going to be a whole episode, how we got through that. But I remember I had to go get this procedure done. I came home. I was in bed. She brought me soup. Of course, I was not going to ask for help. She just showed up and brought me soup and a meal. I had a friend take me there and stay with me there and drive me home. I didn't have to ask. I had the friend say, this is what you have to do. And then I had the friend go to the appointment with me because I didn't feel like I could do it alone. And I had friends step in that were amazing and that knew me and said, I've got you. And so I remember when my other friend came in, and I had a big event the next day, like in Savannah, I think I had to travel to. And so my friend came and she was like, you need to eat. We need to get you well because you have to drive tomorrow morning. And while she was there, she just started organizing my underwear drawer, and she lifted up a pair of underwear and she's like, I think this is why you're divorced. It was very funny. I needed a good laugh. We got rid of all this underwear. So we might have a podcast about cleaning your underwear drawer. Let me tell you, it's the best thing I ever did. But I digress. You need those people that are honest, that are helpful, that just show up. I remember a girlfriend that just would show up and clean my pantry and say, you need milk and toilet paper today. And then, as I've told you, the discovery of being alone is such a good thing and such a beautiful thing. I did learn how to be alone, and I learned how to problem solve on my own. And yes, I feel like God has brought me a wonderful partner, and we'll talk about how that all happened one day soon and diving into a new relationship. But I will tell you that time when I was alone, if you're alone today and you feel like I'm just alone and it is hard, those are beautiful times that I remember that I figured things out. And I think those are the times I'm talking about when, you're like, I have to make this decision. I have no one to bounce this off of. And this is just, what do I need to do? And when you make those decisions and then you see they were the right decisions, you're so proud of yourself. So don't fight being alone. Maybe you're in a state of a season of singleness. Like I said, like I started off, I know a lot of you say your spouse passed away and you've never even gone to the bank by yourself. You don't know how to write a check. He handled all the finances. How do I do this? I understand, but I promise you, as you own one thing at a time, you will figure it out. And then you will make a map, and you will have confidence in that, and you'll know when you have to do this, and you'll know when you have to do that. And then you will know who you can rely on. If I go out of town, I'll ask a girlfriend that I just know will, help me with my kids. I have someone that helps me with my dog. Riley has become like the rebel extraordinaire. He just takes care of him because he's home and his home base. And we've got a team that we all help each other. So I just want you to hear that. Don't fight being alone. Don't fight being in the waiting. Maybe you're in the waiting period. You're just in the waiting. You don't know if this treatment's going to work. You don't know. You feel like, I just don't know because I can't really make a plan because I'm in the waiting. Sit in it. Embrace it. Just know that there is a plan. You might not know the plan, but there is a plan. And there's a scripture that I have always leaned on my entire life. And it says that God's plans cannot be thwarted. So thwarted means they can't be messed up. If he has a plan, which he does, nothing I can do, even if I make a bad decision, it's always going to be worked out for his good. It says, there's another scripture that I held on to, that God works for those that love him. Like God works together for the good of those that love him. And I would rely on that. Like, he loves me and he knows the desires of my heart. Another scripture that is awesome to hold on to. These are things that you can hold on that are true, not Chaz's words, but his words. And you can know that he gives you the desires of your heart. Well, no matter what decision I make, he is leaning me in those decisions because he will give me the desires of my heart. And he knows my heart. He created my heart. He knows every hair on my head. That's another scripture that God says. He knows every hair on my head. If he knows every hair on my head, he knows everything I'm going through in my soul. And he is going to set the path. And his plans will not be thwarted. So I want you to lean on that his plans are greater than ours. And if you lean into that and you trust in that and you surround yourself, like I said, with your people, your family, you're going to be good. And I am good. I can now look back. I think it'll be 2 years, approaching 2 years, being after a massive life change. And I could say I have never been happier. Was there hard? Indeed. Was there stressful times? Of course. Are there still times that I'm like, okay, this is different? Yes. But I will tell you, it's like when you go to the doctor and I was just telling a friend, and you're filling out the paperwork and it's like your contact person. I'm like, I don't have a contact person. It's little things that will just happen. And a lot of you have told me that in the DMs, your spouse died and you went to write your contact person and you broke out in tears in the waiting room. I get it. And there will be emotions that come with every little thing. And there will be little triggers that you will have. And you'll be like, okay, why am I crying? Like today, it just happened because I think about my kids and what they went through, and it's sad. No one plans for divorce. No one plans for these huge life changes. Maybe you went into a partnership with someone in business. You didn't plan on that person stealing from you. You didn't plan on a bad health diagnosis. You don't plan on life changes, but you have to be ready for them and be ready with your faith. Be locked in. Get your people. And invest in your family because they will be the ones standing with you, alongside of you in those hard times. I'll be here too. I hope I can continue to encourage you along all the changes. And I hope that the changes I've walked through and the growth and the challenges will inspire you as well. I could sit here and say I've got it all together. I do not. I really have nothing together. I try my best every day, but I'm a girl who is trying my best, wanting to lead my family well, wanting to honor God with the decisions I make and live a life that's beautiful. And I'm sharing it with you, and I hope that this life will encourage you to live your best life. Now, we're going to be closing soon. We're going to be going on to season 2. We have a couple more episodes, but stay tuned for more. There is so much planning that we're doing for season 2 with so much great content ahead. This season, I really wanted you to get to know me. A lot of you have met me on social media, like I said, at Linen and Flax Co., and sharing little fragments of conversation. And I feel like those were good, but I feel like there's more dialogue that needed to happen, more in depth, more sitting with girlfriends on a chair and telling you about what my change looked like. We're going to talk more. I have another episode that I think will be fantastic about getting your kids ready for college, because I know it's April, we're all getting our kids ready to go into college. You're talking a lot about that in our DMs with Chatting with Chaz as well. So we're going to have an episode on college and then one more on faith. I talk a lot about my faith. My faith has sustained me in all life changes from, my childhood till today at 50 years old. So I do want to have a whole episode on how I came to my faith and the strength I found in my faith and how it continues to sustain me today. So, and then we'll be going into season 2. We're going to take a little break, and you're going to take a little break, and we'll be back. Also, make sure that we have a YouTube channel. So if you're new and you're just subscribing on Apple, head over to YouTube. It's live, it's video. You can see, you can see this in person. Sometimes I learn better when I see a video. So check out YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. And then before we close today, I'm going to take you over. We're going to do something fun today. Because I am Linen and Flax, and you saw in episode 4 how that all happened and how I became, I went from mom to a businesswoman. I do want to show you about this beautiful brand that I created. This brand was a huge change in my life, creating this. And this brand has been a life preserver for me. And I wanted to introduce you for a lot of you that meet me on YouTube and subscribe and listen to us, and maybe don't follow us at Linen and Flax Co. or even at Chatting with Chaz. You're just tuning in for the podcast. I want to show you a little bit about my brand. So I hope if you're listening on Apple right now or Spotify, you head over to YouTube so you can see. I want to show you about our new drop that's happening this week. We have a drop that happens every Wednesday at 10 a.m. So if you're viewing this at midnight on Tuesday, Wednesday at 10 a.m., you're going to see a beautiful drop. And it's all things home and apparel. We have men's, we have baby, we have women's. We have amazing shoes, by the way. We have accessories. We have jewelry. It's truly a lifestyle brand. So I'm going to take you over to the corner. I'm going to give you a sneak peek to the drop that's happening this Wednesday at 10 a.m. So we're going to switch cameras and head on over. Let me make sure I'm on camera here. This is new, so go with me. But like beautiful pieces, like this dress is amazing. It's a linen, gorgeous dress, super flattering on the waist, great material. This color olive is one of my favorites. Looks great. Blondes, brunettes, everyone. Another great piece, this beautiful taupe dress. I love the eyelet bottom. Great for summer, spring, summer transition into spring, summer. I love that. Another great piece. Just classic, easy dresses. Like fantastic. I love a romper. Like, give me a romper. It's easy. It's one and done. You add a cute little platform. I don't know if you can see my platform. Also linen and flax. Super cute. But great basics. This is linen and flax. This is who we are. Classic, easy, relaxed living. That is linen and flax. So you're going to see some really great pieces, like a chambray pant. Are you kidding? Perfect spring, summer. I love this. The cutest little tank, right? Fantastic with denim. This whole look, this top, this belt, this denim, a little flare. Awesome. Will also be part of the drop. And then we have home. You can see this fantastic candle. It smells amazing, absolutely amazing. The books, these boxes, I'm obsessed. I love the texture. I love the braided they're woven. You can use it to put photographs. You could use it just to put odds and ends so you don't have them on your dresser in your bedroom or in your family room. So we love that. And then beautiful throws for your sofa, barefoot dreams. We love barefoot dreams, and just a really light throw for this summer because we are transitioning our home from spring into summer. And then like a little pattern for you. When I was traveling in Europe, I was super inspired by the pattern play that I was seeing all over Italy. So we brought this in, and it goes beautifully with the chambray and the white and the denim. So it's our whole lifestyle brand. If you're not following us at Linen and Flax Co on Instagram or Chatting with Chaz, make sure you check out our website, www.linenandflax.com, and shop the drop Wednesdays at 10 a.m. You can also follow us on Instagram. The drop will be posted there as well. But it's fantastic. This is everything I love, and I hope you love it too. I'm going to head back and say goodbye to you, to our chair. Thank you for joining us today. It was a very vulnerable conversation. I hope it inspired you, and embrace the change. It's a beautiful thing. Beauty from ashes. I'll talk to you next week. Have a great week.